This episode of Legendary is brought to you by Elder Scrolls Online. For 20% off on your pre-order, go to offergb.com/ES motherfucking O.
Game Breaker TV.
What's up, everybody? It's Thursday night. Stop watching the hots. Stop watching the hots. What's up? I'm Gary again. You're watching Legendary. Coming up tonight, we have pre-orders. We got a release date, kind of. And we're going to ask the question, is flying gone forever in the Warlords of Draenor? All that and more. But first, from our insider Sam right here on GameBreaker.tv. It's Liberty Grace. How are you? Live. What's up?
I'm good. Thank you. I'm excited and happy and back. And I've got things behind me. Look, there are things there where there are usually no things.
I feel like there are things. And are you practicing like Tai Chi or something behind there? It's like World of War. It's like you're.
Yeah, it's my dojo.
It is your dojo. That's
my
what it looks
dojo.
like. Nice little dojo. And joining us as always from the Convert the Raid show, Mr. Pat Crane. How are you, buddy?
Hello, nice to be back, internets.
Yes.
So nice.
What happened to you last week, bro? You ruined the party last week.
Dude, yeah, I know. So I've been trying to move out of my house, and apparently you can't move everything at once because your back will give out.
Oh.
And that's basically what ended up happening, and I ended up like pinching a nerve and stuff like that. It's not good, but I'm all better now.
That's called old. It's
a little bit old. A little bit of that in there.
A little bit of that.
Sure.
Are you moving somewhere warm so you don't have to deal with the damn freezing fridge? Or are you moving like a block?
Well, unless like 5 to 10 miles away from my current home is
that would be a
warm.
no. That would be negative.
Right.
No. So it's not Southern California. Okay.
No. Nothing like that.
Joining us as well, Mr. Michael Byrne. How are you, sir?
I'm fine, sir. I'm so happy to be on a show with Olivia. She doesn't know it, but I'm outside the window on the other side of that screen. I'm a huge fan.
I'm scared.
Stalker!
I am reading what she is typing for tomorrow's reports. So, yes, getting the inside scoop.
He's got the scoops.
I'm going to shut the blind.
Right. Please do. Lock the doors.
I know you have weapons as well, so you might want to take out your crossbow or your trebuchet.
Oh, crossbow is
that's
good
right.
now.
She's got crossbows.
It's all true.
Did you bring the trebuchet to SoCal with you?
Yeah, I totally packed it. They were surprisingly cool with it, actually.
NSA's like, yeah, go for it. Trebuchet.
Go on then, it's fine. It's only like 20 feet long. It's all good.
No big deal.
No big deal. We'll just throw it in the cargo.
The only concern was like, this is going to cost extra, right?
Yeah, right.
They're going to have to say this was sporting goods,
right?
It's
over 50 pounds, Miss Grace. It's going to be an extra 20.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, thanks for everybody from taking 5 minutes out of your day to watch Legendary and get away from the hots. So the big news is the Heroes of the Storm Alpha, the technical alpha, is open and people are streaming like crazy. I just downloaded it. I'm getting ready. Is everybody here in?
No, not everybody.
No,
not everybody is.
Then I'll rub it in.
Please do.
I'm already level 5. I'm like freaking out. It's like, I've got to get the show started. People are leveling ahead of me.
Got to play.
We've got to
So
go.
Thanks for taking out some time to watch. So that is the big news. But a couple of quick things before we start the show off. First of all, we got a brand new website for you. Oh, wow, that looks really big. Let me fix that. We have a brand new redesigned website. Got this done, I guess, maybe 2 days ago or so. So much easier layout. Very nicely laid out and just super elegant. Also is amazing on mobile, by the way. The site just absolutely blew donkey balls. Last site just totally sucked as far as mobile went. This site's awesome. Site's a dream to look at on mobile. So check it out on your mobile device. So there's that. The other thing is we didn't have a show last week, but Gamebreaker has run into a little bit of financial trouble, and we have started the Help Save Gamebreaker campaign. We're accepting donations to help us get through this troublesome time. If you come over to gamebreaker.tv, scroll down a bit here on the front page here, you'll see Help Save Gamebreaker. Just click this. It'll take you to a video and some information about what's going on. I'm not going to go through all here, but we're looking to raise $100,000. I think the last I checked, we're somewhere in the $35,000 range, which I have to say, oh my God, thank you. Peter, thank you. Shout out. Huge shout out. Michael, thank you. Shout out. And I can keep going on shout outs for days and days and days, but thank you to every single person who has donated, large and small. It is really, really, really helping us get through this. And like I said, we'll do an update, I believe, tomorrow on the official amount, because if you go to the GoFundMe page, that is not the entire amount. Some people are preferring to donate via PayPal. We're accepting donations there. So usually we were trying to do it every day, but every couple days we're doing an update post and putting them together so you guys can see how much we're at. So I know the GoFundMe is somewhere in the 25K range. There's been about another 10,000 on PayPal. So thank you. But we still need your help. So if you can, please go over, check it out. And if you've liked any of the content we've been making for the past 5+ years at this point, Legendary, Twemo, blah, 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 every show and the website, if you've enjoyed it, please, we're asking for your help at this time. We've been making content for free for 5 years, and now we've run into a bit of trouble, so we need your help. So thanks. All right, so let's get into some show and talk about some World of Warcraft. So I assume since we didn't have a show last week, this show is just going to be about 4 hours long, but a little
pretty much.
Level, so.
It can be, that's for sure.
Yeah, I know with the two of you alone, it can be. I could just leave you two go. I'll agree.
When you saw that show we did.
Burn, you got a sandwich?
I'll just watch the show from Olivia's window. It's no good.
I have to say, by the way, this is awesome. Look at this mobile site. Look at this.
It is killer.
It's really neat.
Yeah, it's got a menu on the side, fly out, and
Yeah,
you find all the different
really
sections.
good. It's got a little menu there. Look at that.
That's
So
awesome.
cool. I'm well impressed.
Yes, and the whole live section.
Really good.
All the shows now live under the GBTV page. That is the new place to find that. So lots of good stuff happening, more changes. So we're doing it up. All right, real quick, I just want to hear a little bit. I know we got to World of Warcraft, but I do want Liv. I have not gotten to play yet. But I do want to hear a little bit about because you have been able to play a little bit of Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, I got.
You managed
I was
to pull
literally-
yourself away for an hour to come and talk about some WoW.
I was like just sitting there like working away like normal. I was like glance at my Battle.net thing and it's like Bosh Heroes of the Storm's icon suddenly appears on my Battle.net. Like, okay, go. It's like right now, download, install, get on with it. Oh my god! Like that was at 5:05, and then I played solidly until I was like, okay, now I really have to write Legendary.
So give me the quick rundown. What do you think so far in the short amount of time you've been in it?
So far, there's sort of the enforced tutorial zone, which actually, like, while I'm not usually a huge fan of those, I feel like it's actually useful in this instance because it's quite like people are going to go into this thinking it's League, and it's actually a little different from League. There's stuff in there that you kind of need to know. It's very objective driven. And like you've got the 5 free-to-play heroes, and I've just been having a great time, like just messing around with different heroes so far. And you've got your 3 modes. You've got your practice mode, which is you and sort of AI versus AI. You've got co-op versus AI, and you've got versus mode. And it's all very sort of familiar, but there are things like you've got attack moving, like you have in League, and it's all there. It's all in the tutorial. So the tutorial's good. I feel like it doesn't need to be quite as long as it is. I feel like they could take out the practice full game from the tutorial. And there's no smart cast, which is slightly irritating, but it's not the end of the world. And so far, like, it's dynamic, it's really quick. Burn is bored to tears. Gary's bored to tears. It's
No,
really
we
quick,
just want to
it's
play.
really fun.
We just want to play. We're
You're
just
right, exactly.
Yeah, no, honestly, like, I'm loving it. Like, I'm unfortunately, because I've got despite having a ton of US-based licenses on it, my battle account is EU-based. So at the moment, I can't buy heroes. So I'm on this enforced experiment of having to earn gold to buy heroes. And I've already, after just like I've played 2 games outside of the tutorial, I've already got enough gold to buy a hero. So I'm
Awesome.
like a cheap
Sweet.
hero, but a hero nonetheless.
What's the one question like we kept hearing about heroes, like the people sort of speculating and wondering, is it sort of going to be the casual MOBA. Is any implication, any signs of that?
I think that it depends very much on how you sort of like, how would you draw, where do you draw the line between a casual MOBA and like a hardcore MOBA?
Well, for me, a casual MOBA means the one I'm going to play. So that's
for sure. I think that much more.
My line
than,
is I'm not freaking terrible at it.
Yeah, I think much more than other recent releases, it's really done a good job of the easy to learn, hard to master. Like there's a ton of tactical, strategic stuff with the maps and the objectives. Yes, strategery needs to be undertook in order to do well at this game. But like, there's no item shop, so you don't need to have an encyclopedic knowledge of what you should and shouldn't be buying and when. And
I love that. You mean I don't have to have some site up next to me?
Yeah, you don't need a freaking spreadsheet on the other screen to like be like, right now I have this many numbers, so I need
It's weird because you start with all your abilities, so it's kind of weird. You're not used to like buying.
Yeah, you start with all your abilities. You get your ult at 10. At 10, obviously this isn't like they don't have a name for the summoner account, which is making it really hard to express the difference between a summoner account and the in-game leveling. So once you level up to 10, you get your ultimate ability. Level 20, you get what do they call it? Your storm something ability, which is like another alt type ability, very powerful ability. Experience is team wide, so you're not doing that whole thing where you're going out and getting last hits to get your gold, and you're not earning your own sort of personal experience. You're earning experience for the team, which I personally think is a really nice change, because like, to me, sometimes League, you can play it, particularly in like pug matches, you play it as like 5 solo players. And obviously once you get more advanced, you're playing more as a team, but it's enforced from day one as heroes. Gary's AFK'd.
He's going off to play it right now or something.
He's going off to play it right now, yeah. I don't know, I'm really excited about it. I think the lack of an item shop is actually awesome. I mean, I don't know what do you guys, like, does the lack of an item shop remove all the gameplay?
I know so little about LOL right now. I played 3 matches of LOL and I sucked at it so badly that I was shamed away from the game forever. So I look at Heroes of the Storm, I'm like, you are my last hope.
Honestly, I think Heroes is going to be great for all the people who are in that same boat. Like, and I'm in that same boat a bit as well. I started really, really late in League.
Right.
And as a result, I feel like I can't ever catch up now. Like, I can't ever assimilate enough knowledge to put myself on a level with someone who's been playing it for way longer. Whereas with Heroes, we're sort of starting again. And like, I can learn all the heroes because there's only like, I think there's 19 of them now, as opposed to 100 and however many there is these days in League of Legends. Yeah, I'm really excited. I don't think it's casual. I think it's easy to learn, but I think there's a lot more depth to it from the maps.
Were you checking your download? Were you checking your download there, Gary? Is that what you're doing?
I was checking my download. and a Scotch showed up. I don't know how that happened.
Look at that.
All right, let's talk about some World of Warcraft. Everybody wants to hear about some WoW, and that's what we're here for. We haven't talked about it all week. So we've got the pre-release of Warlords of Draenor. It came out on, what was that, Monday? Is it Monday?
Yeah.
Now, big thing. What is up with the $10 increase in the price?
I know, right?
Is up? Is this just because of the boost?
If that's what they call it.
If that's what they call it.
What is it?
People will be. Can you imagine the rage if they're like, yeah, it's $10 more because you get a boost?
No. Yeah.
You can't say it's
value.
You can't say it's inflation.
I imagine they would if you asked them. I mean, they haven't put the price up. When Burning Crusade came out in 2000.
Yeah, there hasn't been a price increase in 10 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
There we go.
So
zero price increase.
And especially now, I mean, when you look at the way that it's when Mists of Pandaria came out, they still had how many million subscribers were there at the onset of
launch of Mists? I want to say like 10-ish.
Yeah, something like that. And now we're down to 7-ish, somewhere in there.
7.8.
And yeah, that's right, almost 8. So maybe now at this time it makes sense for them to raise the price a little bit.
3 million will be paying $140 for these.
That's right.
Yeah, really.
Yeah,
I can't believe you're behind the price. Pat, you're behind the price increase?
No,
wow.
I'm just
I know you're a
trying to
fanboy,
figure
but
it out.
Jesus.
I'm just trying to figure it out. The other thing is that, Gary, I don't know if you know this, but they did kind of rework the game basically from the ground up. I mean, they really took apart a lot of the mechanics and stuff like that.
That's
And
not
we'll
my
talk about
problem,
a little bit
bro.
about this stuff. Right. But, you get the new character, you get the new character models, you get all the other stuff, you get garrisons, you get all this new gameplay.
If they did, having to increase the price, you could only go 10, right? Like, you couldn't have gone 3. You can't go 5.
Gary, they want $60 for a 90 boost, so who knows what they could
Well,
go
who
for,
knows? Yeah,
really.
I have to say I'm not really like I understand all the reasons why they might have done it, but I still think it's crap. Like I still think it's really like, hey, we're a 10-year-old game. Give us $10 more for our expansion because we put new stuff in the game.
That's exactly what I was
There's
thinking.
a whole load
That's
of
the
new
thing
stuff.
is like,
Don't stop looking at the prices of other games. Stop that.
Don't you almost? I mean, let's be fair. Don't you almost expect it to start going down 10 years into the game?
You would hope so, yeah.
Well, at least stay the same.
Yeah, you would hope so. But here's the primary expense for any X-Pack and any MMO is art, right? I mean, that's going to be your most expensive asset. Art ain't cheap. Testing the art ain't cheap. Getting it to work inside the environment ain't cheap. There was a whole piece written on a blog by one of the what's the
Skylanders.
Yeah, that's it. The Skylanders dev team that talked about how expensive and time-consuming art can be, and arguably, Draenor probably has the biggest. And we haven't seen the content yet. We can't judge. Oh, the $10 extra is because they put so much more into this.
They had to draw so many.
We don't know.
Yeah.
But
there's two extra wallpapers came with Draenor. It's $10.
You're starting with me already, Gannon. The first thing I chime in on. You know what? Screw it. I'm gonna watch from the living window again.
You make good points, man. You make good points. It's like
seriously,
there's a ton
think
of
about what they're doing here. Not only are they implementing raids and dungeons and the typical X-Pack fare, right? But now we're also adding garrisons, a totally new art asset pool that wasn't in there before. We don't know how many skins and things they're going to have. Not only that, we're going back and we're redoing all the old character models. Those are the most expensive art assets out there. And you don't just reskin them. They're created from scratch again. You can't just reskin. Which begs the question, should Kata probably have been $10 more?
Oh, why'd you send them your money? You should send them an extra tenner.
I'm going to.
You
know what,
bro?
Blizz, go ahead and take 25 this month.
There you go.
Look at that.
I feel bad.
That's
I think you got cheated on Kata a little bit.
Well, and that's it. Like
$10.
That's kind of the counterpoint which people will likely offer in the face of it. It's a good point. It's a good point. But I think people are going to say, well, they introduced 2 new races in Kata, they introduced 2 new races in the Burning Crusade. Why didn't they jack up the price then? There's a ton of new art. I mean, admittedly, redoing every single character model is a ton of art. There's a ton of art investment in there. But they've introduced new stuff. They introduced the farm. They've been introducing they introduced all the scenarios last time around. And I mean, like the art requirement for scenarios was less than the art requirement for garrisons, for sure. Like, don't get me wrong there. They introduced the Brawlers Guild. There's been a ton of new art in previous expansions as well, and yet we've always seen this $40 price level. Whether the character models warrant the $10 boost, it's like money is such a subjective thing. I think it feels crappy, and I think it feels particularly crappy because of the release date.
I'm fine with it.
Because you're okay with.
I'm okay with it. I mean, they're a company. They got to make money. Activision probably weighed in on this more than Blizzard did when it came down to final pricing. At least I would think that Activision had a pretty big say in what happened. And yes, Blizzard wants to make money, but they also realize the customer base is dwindling, and they're not going to intentionally screw people over with a higher price tag because unless they feel like they have to charge a higher price. And I think that's what it all boiled down to.
Yeah.
All right, so the dates. They're saying on or before December 20th.
Yeah.
Talk about a window.
Yeah, this is the big freak out, right? So everybody was like, "Oh my god." So that means that we're going to have to wait until December 20th to get the game. And it's like, "No. That's not really the case." However, they are saying fall now. They are saying fall, and we've kind of guessed that since we haven't seen a beta come around or anything like that yet. So, which is kind of a lot of people are upset because, and I'm kind of one of those people as far as how this is not being released as quickly as a lot of the content was in Mists of Pandaria. Like Mists of Pandaria, like every 2 months there was something new going on. Every 2 months there was, either a new Yeah, exactly. Either a new raid or a new content patch, right? So, and then after Siege of Orgrimmar dropped, we got into BlizzCon, and they were like, okay, great. So here's what's happening in Warlords of Draenor, and let your imaginations run wild for another year.
Another year.
Yeah.
There you go,
So-
kiddies.
Another year.
Yeah, it's tough.
Do you
It's
really think
tough.
it's going to be that late? Are you guys speculating? You think
No.
you're gonna
I'm
push it all
still
the way to
I'm
the
still
20th?
holding out hope. I'm still holding out hope that this is a long end date. I am being perhaps excessively optimistic and thinking that we're going to see. I don't know when America considers fall to begin. Is the other thing. Like in the UK, you kind of I'm sure there are legal dates, but we kind of consider autumn, as we call
The
it,
legal
to begin.
dates.
Well, like there must
It's
be a legal
illegal to
definition.
call today fall. Damn it.
Well, no, but there must be a legal definition of fall because, like Ian Hezekiah, who, by the way, is a lawyer, was saying that is the legal end date of fall is
And
the
he's
this
sued
December
many
20th
people
date.
Yes.
over this discrepancy.
Yes.
Well, maybe he has. I don't know.
Yeah,
I know that he's a
yeah.
lawyer turned game developer, so he'd
Right.
know.
He's just
so I don't
covering
know what the-
Blizzard's ass. That's what he's doing.
I don't know what the legal start date of fall is, but kind of like autumn in the UK is considered to start in September.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of holding out hope that we're at least going to see early September. Like I really don't think that they're going to have the sort of. Why would they push it that long? Like this has to be like a legal department going, oh no. But what if you don't get it out in? What if you don't get it out? What happens then? Like whoa,
Right.
you've got
Right.
a problem,
obvi-
legal problems.
Yeah, and they're obviously sitting there, in a spot not knowing exactly when. They released this info Monday, and funny enough, another game announced their release date on Wednesday. So I'm wondering if this is going to get updated anytime soon. I mean, let's be
can we
honest.
get
I
this
know
out
a
of the
lot of
way
people think I
real
might be.
quick?
Well, I think people may be thinking I'm stretching, but man, it's a great business move. But Blizzard has been notorious for launching right around that week or month, like really close to
Yep.
anything that would remotely be competition. And
Yep.
WildStar
Yeah.
announced their release date on Monday.
And
Or
it doesn't
Wednesday,
matter
sorry.
whether it's patch content or whatever expansions. They try to be competitive. So we shall see. I'm
Do you guys
hoping
do
that,
you
they can
guys
bump
do
it
you,
up.
do you guys think that that's part of the just kind of like blanket date that they put out on Monday? Do you think that they were just sort of waiting?
I think they needed to put something up, and they wanted to give as long of a tail as possible so that they could make adjustments on the fly if they need to.
Do you guys
Can we
think
get
they're
it
gonna-
out of
do
the
you guys,
way right now that Shaftnet called this months ago?
Oh, you're gonna bring that up, huh?
He called
I'm
it.
gonna be that guy.
I have to
Shaftnet
because
Mark II.
I thought he was crazy when I did the one episode of Legendary. I thought he was nuts.
I think he called this before BlizzCon even.
Oh yeah, he was way ahead.
So, yeah.
He
Yeah.
kind of.
Good job, Chef.
I
Good
think
job,
it's really
Chef.
crappy though to put December 20th. They should put November.
I
mean,
honestly,
the internet would have hated anything that wasn't tomorrow. So
Yeah.
you're screwed anyway. But December 20th, really? You said 2014, and you just cut 11 days out of that. Thanks, Blizz. Appreciate that. Appreciate narrowing the field a little bit. Awesome. Nice
yeah,
job.
really. Like we've narrowed it down to
It
354
won't come out on
days.
Christmas. Congratulations.
You'll have it in time for Christmas.
I don't know why. I think it's going to be earlier. I think they're going to come out with an earlier
I think
date
it's
and
gonna be
surprise.
earlier,
I think they're surprise
Yeah.
everybody. I think they just picked as close to the farthest date out they possibly could and said, okay, let's just go with this. But it'll be months before that, I think, and then everybody will just be super psyched. So, all right, moving on.
Fingers
Let's get a
crossed,
whole
'cause
lot to go
Jesus,
through
you
this
know.
week. Exactly. There's all that, because Jesus. That's
Well, Jesus, like how many months of Siege of Orgrimmar would that even be?
Bird, did
I'm
you
done
hear
with
that
it
the way I
now.
heard that?
Yeah.
When you said that, I just heard and there's Jesus and that whole thing. It's like
Oh.
December 25th. That thing.
I didn't even make that association. I'm
I did.
I'm the worst Jesus person.
That's what I heard. All right, let's talk about some other stuff. There was a really interesting interview that came out with director Alex Afra. Is it Afra Hasibi?
Afrasiabi.
Yeah, good. Good luck with
Afrasiabi.
that. Good luck with that.
Afrasiabi.
You've been practicing that. This
She
came out-
has, actually.
Is this today? This came out today? I believe this came out today or yesterday. I don't know.
I think so. It's either today or yesterday. Yeah.
Really new. But he talked about flying in Draenor, and he actually said, and I quote, "We will not allow flying at all." Close quote. That's what he said. This is kind of
Well-
different than what people are used to. Is that not what he said?
Well, he did say at ship. At ship, we will not allow flying at all. So when it ships, they will not allow flying at all.
So that's like when it's in the UPS truck on its way to Best Buy and
Yep.
Fry's. We will not
Yep.
allow flying.
Yep.
When
The
you
tractor
unwrap
delivery
it
have said we will not.
on Jesus'
Exactly.
birthday, December 25th, you will have
Yeah.
flying. Because
Yeah.
Jesus will come
He
down.
goes
and
on-
we'll
Well,
all
yeah,
fly.
because that'll be 5 days after release.
Yeah,
At
exactly.
that point,
Shipped.
And you
Shipped.
don't want to compete with Santa Claus.
No.
Really.
You don't want to compete with Jesus.
He goes on
Santa
to
Claus.
say that they have to, it's a hard sell for players and they have to figure out how it's going to work. But like the idea of not allowing flying is really cool and so on and so forth.
Why do you think
So
they're going
it's
back on
definitely-
this? I mean,
Huh?
why do you think they're going back on this? Isn't it really something that, I think almost every
We
MMO
pre-
has this sort of thing about flying where players don't like it because it's kind of interrupts the social and everybody's in the sky. You don't run into people. Like, we know the problems with it,
Yep.
but there's also the benefits of it, especially when content gets a little older and you just can't even fathom just being hoofing it around constantly.
Right. Well, they
Yeah,
did
for
talk
sure.
at BlizzCon. They talked a lot about flight points because I mean that was kind of one of the things they talked about how they aren't going to have flying at least right away in Warlords at BlizzCon, and they said so in order to make sure that we can still make this an enjoyable experience for everybody, we're going to make sure that the flight points make sense and that we can make it a better experience for you than it has been in the past anyway. So let's hope that they do that
But
at least.
But this is a trend, though. I mean, with Lich and Pandaria, I mean, you weren't able to fly in the starting zones until you reached
Right.
the new max level and then obtained the books and all that stuff. And I think this is going to be something they add in the first patch. Okay,
Well, this
you
is
can fly,
precisely
you can
what they
fly
said
now.
in the past. This is precisely what they said in the past. The first full patch of the expansion, there will be a quest which will go across 2 patches, and it will be an epic length quest, which made me just go, oh no, am I going to have to do this on every single character? Oh my god, do you have any idea how long it's going to take me? And like that's going to stretch across the first and second patches, and in the second like the first big patch. So remember, 6.0 is pre-patch, 6.1 is launch patch, so 6.2 would be the patch in which they allow you to start flying. And like that is, to me, I'm just like, well, I can sit there at max level and until this patch happens, I can't fly. Like, to me, that feels really crap. Like,
See,
it's
it
just like,
comes
I don't
full
want- I
circle,
want-
though, Liv. It comes full circle. They want you to walk around and see all the art that you paid 10 extra dollars
Oh, there it is. There it is.
circle.
There you
And then
go.
once you've viewed it all, you can fly.
Once you feel good about it, you know where
Good
that $10 went, you can fly.
Yeah.
What do you
That's
think of
the
the idea of never?
tombstone.
But what do you think about the idea of never being able to fly in Warlords? What if they never did it?
I think that would be something that they would miss out. I think that would be like missing an entire part of the game for some people, and that could really bite them in the butt in the long run. I mean, as far as on the forums, from customer feedback and all that kind of stuff, I think that would be a big part of the game that people go, "What's going on, Blizz? Come on,
Yeah.
I need to fly."
Maybe
Let's
they
go.
just need to
I-
add like lasers and shit, and we could just like dogfight, and then
That'd be
problem
awesome.
solved.
That'd be
3D
awesome.
combat in WoW has never worked very well. Like, remember Vashir? Like, that was pretty crap.
Right.
Vashir was pretty awful because 3D combat. And like, do you remember that flying quest where you had to flap around and do stuff inside that cave in like the Molten Front in Mount Hyjal?
Yeah.
That was. Don't do that again, Liz.
No.
But I think but do you not remember like before Cataclysm launched how we couldn't fly in the old world for like 1 vanilla and 2 whole expansions, and it was just kind of okay, and
But flying is awesome. But
I agree,
flying
flying is awesome, and I agree they shouldn't. I don't think they should do it in a new zone. But
Right.
like the idea of never having flying, I think people have forgotten how we used to not be able to fly.
Well, now
And
that
like
everybody,
it
now
was this
you're-
whole
but-
continent.
Back in my
But now-
day in WoW, we used to walk.
Walk
Well, yeah,
uphill.
I had to be 40 before I got a horse, and even then I had to collect 3 pieces and go beat a demon for
Of a
it.
horse. They had to like make his Franken horse out of 3 horse chunks.
Bring those days back. Maybe
Uphill
just got
both
it,
ways.
maybe just got it wrong. I think maybe just got it wrong. Maybe just got it wrong.
Well, I think I think that they realize that they got a lot of different stuff wrong, and this is kind of the expansion where they're trying to correct a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that they're trying to correct. Well, we'll get into some other stuff that they're trying to correct later, but I think that flying was definitely one of those things that they look back on and they said, yeah, this really shrank the world for a lot of people, and it took away the MMO aspect of it at least a little bit. Having people
Maybe he got the message wrong in the video. I mean, there's some tweets floating around,
I think he
right?
did.
Because there's some tweets floating around that kind of suggest it might actually be coming in 6.1, right?
For sure, yeah. Like there's this guy called Law or something who's been tweeting today about how that's not actually the plan.
Right.
Some dude. But yeah, he's been tweeting about how it's not actually like never, and that they're going to be massively increasing the number of flight points, that they're still like sticking to the old plan, that there's, it's going to be lots of mobility. People are going to be able to get places really easily with flight points, and the flight point is going to be a big key thing. So do bear it in mind that maybe the video was perhaps like edited a little aggressively, maybe, or like he just sort of, what's the word that you guys love to use when you're a president? Misspoke. There we go. Maybe he just misspoke.
What's the word that you guys say when you're president? What does he do?
Misspoke.
Yeah.
That's what we
I'm sorry.
say.
I am being told that fall hasn't legally begun. I misspoke. I apologize.
Can somebody check with Ion? Thank you, Ion. Thank you for the check. Thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
But it's good for World. I have to say though, it's good for World PvP to have no flying.
Yeah.
As long as you happen to be in the majority of the people in the area. Like there's loads of people going, oh well, flying's great for World PvP. It's like World PvP is inherently unfair.
Unless you're Alliance. Unless you're Alliance. Then you're screwed.
I play both now. I'm EU Alliance, US Horde, so I kind of rule both sides. But like, unless you have a mount to get away from the people who are ganking you and camping your corpse, like, well, that just got a little bit harder. So yay! I mean, yeah, it removes PvP in that respect, in that people can't fly away anymore.
But the island, that island
is not going to have flying on it at all. I don't think.
Island.
I would imagine there's going to be no flying on that island whatsoever, and I applaud that.
Full loot, full PvP, no flying, permadeath island of Holinka. That's what it's called. That's what it's
Holinka
called.
Isle.
The Holinka Isle. You step on it, if you
It's
die,
his
your
birthday
character's
today.
gone. Oh, is it?
It's Holinka's birthday. Happy birthday,
Happy
Brian Holinka.
birthday! I don't have your music queued up. Damn, but happy birthday! I wasn't ready for that. How old is he? Do we know?
Sorry, I've
Call
got
him out.
a just that.
I think he's 3,000 years old today. He looks good for 3,000. It's
He does.
really good.
He's
He's older
chilling
than
with
time.
He's chilling with Marcus Phoenix, just having a scotch.
True.
Maybe
Yeah.
that's how he originally. He looks a lot like Marcus Phoenix. He just does. It's that jaw. It's like, he could just be a hardcore video game character, just like Holinka in the next Doom. All right. Guess we should move on. All right, let's move on. First, I want to take a second to talk to you about our sponsor, Audible. Love having Audible on as a sponsor of Game Breaker and, of course, Legendary. Want to hook you guys up with a free audiobook and a free trial. If you have not checked out Audible, what are you waiting for? Now is the time to do it. Check it out. It's free, 30 days. Free audiobook. Everybody loves free stuff. I love free stuff. You download the app. You put it on your phone, your Android, Kindle Fire, iPad, iOS, whatever you got. You put it on, you put the app on, get to download a free book. And they have a bunch of World of Warcraft books. You could pick one of these tonight and start listening. I want to listen to one.
Ooh, some of them are whisper sync.
Yes. Why don't you explain that really quick? People love the whisper sync.
So if you have this particular book is not, but one that's whisper sync enabled, if you have the book on your Kindle as well, you can sit there and read it on your Kindle, and then, I got to go make dinner. Hit play, and Audible will pick up right where you were done reading and start reading it to you. When you're done making dinner, pick your iPad, whatever, back up, or your Kindle back up, hit stop, and you can pick up reading right where Audible left off. You never have to sit down.
Technology! I have no idea how they do it. Holinka must be on that job. He's working on the Isle and Whisper technology with Audible. That's what he's doing. He's got 2 jobs because he's got the math down.
Many blues had already departed. Some had sought his blessing before leaving the Nexus. Calicos continued to be their leader, although the powers of an aspect were no longer his. They had told him that they were restless and wished to see if there was some other place in the world where their skills and abilities would be appreciated. The rest had simply gone, present one day, vanished the next. Those who remained were either becoming increasingly agitated or surrendering to a bleak sense of malaise.
God, this is much better than this show.
Calicos dove and wheeled, letting the cold air caress his scales, then opening his wings and catching an updraft, his thoughts once again brooding and unhappy.
Oh, check it out, check it out, check it out. That can be yours free. Just head on over to audible.com/gamebreaker. That's the URL you're going to want to use to go sign up, get your free 30-day trial, and get your free audiobook. And that's World of Warcraft, Jaina Proudmoore, Tides of War. There's a few others on there. Just do a little search for World of Warcraft. You will find them, and I guarantee when you try Audible, you are going to love it. I've been a long, long, long time subscriber. All right, so moving on, there's a huge, I knew that you guys are going to talk about this for like hours. This one's going to go on forever. This is just, let me refill my scotch for this. Let me refill my scotch. I'm just going to let you guys go. I'm going to maybe go take a nap. We'll see what happens on this. But I knew there's a huge water cooler dev post about healing. One. It is a big one. Yeah. It's all about healing. All right, the big points are that player health and resilience, healing spell retuning, and instant cast heals. Those are the big beats. I guess let's take it in order. So first up, so they're talking about reducing PvP resilience and battle fatigue to zip zilch 0, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of crazy, actually.
Is that going to work?
Well, we'll see. I mean, it's going from like at the moment you've got with all your PvP resilience with your trinket bonus, you've got 80.10%, 80.10 PvP resilience. So that's a fair quantity. Like that's quite a lot. And they're reducing that down to 0. There's also battle fatigue applied to healing, which is currently at 65%. So that means that your healing is reduced in PvP situations by 65%. And that's also being reduced to 0. So the amount of damage you take is obviously being increased by the removal of resilience. And then the healing that's being done to you is being increased as well. So that's kind of like, this is weird. So what are they doing to fix that? They are doubling player health based off of stamina on gear. Base health is gone. But the amount of health you get, so say now, for sake of argument, you've got 10 stamina on your gear, you currently get 20 health. In Warlords, that 10 stamina will award you 40 health. So then player health pools get bigger. They are increasing healing by less. So if your healing is not being doubled accordingly to player health bars. So each heal is going to be less as a percentage of player health bars. So they're trying to fix this by reducing burst healing. And then the player health bar increase, like the resilience is basically effective health. Resilience should be viewed as effective health. So by taking less damage, you're increasing your effective health. And then that's basically being replaced by the increase in health from stamina. So long story short, I think it'll work initially. Like I think it's going to be fine in the first season of the expansion. And then I think it's going to start escalating. I think numbers are going to start ramping up with gear. Inevitably, like unless they get the scaling spot on every time, they're going to have to start creeping it back in. Which is why I think it's really good that they're not removing it. They're reducing it to 0. Like that's an important distinction to me. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how this all works out. Like this isn't happening in isolation either. Right. So like the increase in player health also means that damage as a percentage is less of player health. So like if your attack hit for 100 on a player with 200 health, that hitting for 100 on a player with 400 health is obviously less. It's going to be so interesting to see how this all plays out. I don't, it's huge changes, such massive changes, especially like PvP and PvE. Right.
There's some huge changes. One of the things in PvP is that they're also lowering crit percentages and stuff like that. So it's not double anymore. It's going to be 150% of whatever it's supposed to hit for. So there's going to be less burst damage. There's going to be less bursty healing, and there's going to be more health. So that's what they're hoping will kind of play out in the end. And that's kind of what can be said about most of the article, really.
Yeah,
more health,
sure.
More health, less burst for the rest of everybody, and hopefully it'll all play out well.
Yeah, for sure. Like the idea is sort of, and Helinka's been tweeting a ton about this. So at the moment, you've got this situation where someone can be killed from 100 to 0 very quickly because burst damage is so high. However, they can also be healed from 1 to 100 very quickly because burst healing is so high. And by increasing health pools, and the crit chance to 150% is PvP only, so that's PvP exclusive. It's still 200% elsewhere. So they're basically feeling like there's going to be more what Helinka called rot. So people will be killed much more slowly. You can also only heal them up much more slowly. So it's going to slow the whole game down. It's going to make everything a little bit slower. Like you're not going to have this crazy reaction time issues anymore. It's going to be more about spell choice than it is about reaction. And I think that's a really interesting distinction. I think spell choice is much more interesting to me, at least.
Is it even possible to remotely be able to kind of wrap your head around if it's going to work without just playing it?
Yeah, it's kind of tough right now to really think about how all of these changes that they kind of proposed in this piece are gonna play out. But however, I think that there have been some really good blog posts as well outside of World of Warcraft that I've been looking at. And some of them are really good, very detailed in kind of the idea and trying to form the math around this whole thing. And essentially what it is it's just basically trying to get everything kind of evened out again. And so this is, again, I think this is one of these things where they're looking at past mistakes, or not necessarily mistakes, but things that have happened in the past, things that have kind of gotten out of control, and now they need to correct them for this expansion. And they're doing that with a bunch of other things.
Because correct me if I'm wrong, isn't the thing that a lot of players are worried about right now is that the retuning section just makes it, people are sort of speculating that this just kind of makes it go straight back to kata.
People are freaking out.
Yeah.
Gary. People are freaking out.
No, it's the internet. People never freak out. No, that doesn't happen.
But don't worry, guys. These changes don't take effect until December 20th. I mean,
oh, that's right.
Fine.
Right.
For the next 9 months, man. You're good.
Well, and the other thing that a lot of people don't really take into consideration. Hey, there he is. Happy birthday. And the other thing that people don't take into consideration is that all of these changes are going to be happening with encounter changes in Warlords of Draenor as well. So don't think of what it's going to be doing to you today in Siege of Orgrimmar. Think about what it's going to be doing for you tomorrow in Warlords of Draenor when everything is going to be different.
Yeah, for
everything is going to be different.
And I think the important thing is to not look at this on a sort of individual change level. It's to look at it as on a sort of philosophical level.
Right.
Like the big ideas here. And Pat and I talked a ton about this on the previous show, where it's like the sort of big idea notions of rot, of triage. And like if you're a healer who remembers early kata, triage is a really, really scary word because that's what they said healing is going to be like in kata. And I think personally, and there's a great blog out there by a person called Ashinera, and seek it out. It's I can't remember the website, but Ashinera wrote this excellent blog where they talk about how healing in Cataclysm wasn't necessarily the whole problem. It was definitely a problem, but it was not necessarily the whole problem. It was that we went from the AoE fest that was 5-mans in late Wrath into these dungeons where you actually had to CC. Like you couldn't keep people at full health all the time. You had to CC mobs. Like remember Grim Battle, where you had to CC stuff? Like if you didn't let those things go, if you let those things just carry on and behave like it was late Wrath still, you got absolutely blown up. And rightly so. They were difficult dungeons. And we're in the same situation now where we're going to go across an expansion and just be like, whoa, hold on a second. What do you mean I can't spam AoE this stuff? And like, so healing is going to be triage again. You're not going to be able to keep people at full health. And that's going to be something that healers are going to have to get used to. And it's not going to be pretty for a while. And I think they could have presented them a bit better.
Yeah, and even Ion Hazakostas, Ion said that the problem with Kata was that the encounters were probably overtuned.
Yeah, for sure.
By quite a bit. They wanted to increase the difficulty, and so they did. And then mana regen was not as good. So you had people that could cast like 3 heals and they were done. You know, I mean, that was kind of the bane of Kata healing, was that you really couldn't do much until much later in the expansion. But he said that But in this article, they also talked about mana regen and about how that is going to be increased as well. So you should be able to hold out for much, much longer in the early stages, and then it's going to scale less than it has in previous expansions, meaning that healing should still be a challenge, and mana should still be somewhat of a challenge, hopefully, as you progress through the expansion. So that could be kind of cool.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that that's an important message to get across, is like they're talking about how your base mana regen, your base spirit is going to be quite high, but the amount of spirit you're getting off gear is going to stay pretty low.
Right.
So that's like a big deal. Like that means that we won't be in this crazy situation now where everyone just spams whatever AoE heal they have, because why wouldn't you? Like there might
One
be
of
someone
my
over there
degrees is
who
in
needs
calculus, and I can't figure out if this is going to work or not. just like listening to the numbers, going back and forth, and reading the posts, I just can't for the life of me figure out if this is actually going to work or not.
Well, I mean, honestly, like none of us knows. None of us knows this is going to work, and none of us knows it's not going to work. Like we can't we can't put a whole load of numbers together and be like, well, this is definitely going to work. If anyone can put a whole load of numbers together and say this is definitely going to work, it's probably the guys designing the game.
Yeah, I would say so. And I think that the big test will be beta anyway. I mean that's where it's all going to get kind of worked out and figured out. And for whether it's for PvP or for PvE, they're going to figure it out probably pretty quickly. I think that they already have some goal in mind, and if it's not reached fairly quickly, they'll be able to at least kind of reconfigure some numbers and try to make sure that it works. So.
They're also cutting down the improvement on healing with gear, right?
Yeah, so the healing improvement, like sort of the throughput improvement with gear, is also going to be less. It's something they hit in the article. They're talking about how, like, as you add gear on, it's not just your mana regen. Like your healing numbers aren't going to be crazy good at the end of the expansion anymore. It's not going to change that much throughput wise through the expansion like we're used to having now. It's like my healing surge at the start of the expansion will heal for 25%. End of expansion, 75%. Awesome. Like that's not going to happen so much anymore. That's going to be
time to start carrying bandages again.
Yeah.
Actually, that might not be a bad idea. I think the bandages could actually play some kind of part in regular PvE encounters and maybe even PvP. You never know.
Cool, man. I love making those. I love that.
Start selling them on the auction house now, Gary. Get ready.
That's right.
I'm gonna make bandages. What I'm hearing about Draenor is that my mage needs to make bandages and charge for portals, because both are viable. You can't fly, and your healer sucks now. So I'm in business, baby.
Yeah, you've got to get that evocation glyph.
Right.
Because you're gonna need it.
How does this gonna affect rating, or is it going to affect rating?
It's going to affect it quite a bit, actually. I mean, all these the healing change is really going to. I mean, we're talking about a paradigm shift here when we're talking about healing. I mean, they're changing every single piece of the puzzle here, so it's going to be weird. It's going to be really strange for a lot of people, and get used to seeing your raiders between 0 and 100% health, and not always at 100. I mean, if you're always at 100, there's no real thought behind healing at all. I mean, I play a druid healer right now, and the name of the game is just throw everything at everybody and hope that they stay up.
But this also brings back the whole pick who survives, right?
Right.
Does that jerk that's sitting in fire or the tank? Which one gets the heal? I only have time to heal one. Pat, you were in the fire. Screw it, you're dead. There's nothing I'm going to do about it. Which I like that about Kata's dungeons back then. Yeah, and Halls of Reflection, even. Remember that one?
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Healers. I liked that.
It's really it makes healing so much more interesting. It makes healing so much more thought. Like at the moment, everyone sort of refers to it as whack-a-mole. Like, oh, that health bar's low, that health bar's low. Like, you're literally just looking at your frames going, well, fine. Like, that's raid healing. It's like you're looking around a bit, trying not to stand and crap yourself. But, like, there's it's just literally like keeping everyone at full health. And, like, I don't know about you guys, but I'm excited in Flex when people suddenly dip low and I can use my healing. I play a Resto Shaman. Our mastery kicks in exclusively when people are below 50%.
Right.
That's not very useful right now.
No.
And Shaman healers are great for that, and it's fun. It's fun to be like at the moment. Like I was playing a 2v2 match last week with Dampening, which is my favorite spell, by the way. And that kicked in, and we were literally like sitting both of us at 10% health because I was playing a discipline priest. We're not great in dampening because it's all bubbles.
Right.
And, you know, you don't have the big hard-hitting heals to pull people back up. But it's literally a case of, right, we're so close to killing them. I need to die and make sure that all of the healing I'm doing right now is going into my DPSing partner because I'm not going to be able to kill this guy, and he is. So if I can keep myself up, awesome. But I need to make sure that he stays alive if I die. And like that, to me, that thought is interesting. And if that can come back into PvE, I think that's great. It's going to be a big mentality shift. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited.
And here's a warning for all disc priests out there. Absorbs are going to be nerfed a little bit as well. So guess what? Maybe we'll have a more even playing field when it comes to healers in Warlords of Draenor. So that could be not such a bad thing either.
Yeah.
Coming from a Resto Druid perspective, of course.
Well, yeah, you guys are golden right now, though. You guys are golden in the PvPs right now.
We're good. We're good.
You're
Yeah.
good. You're in a good spot. That's the Resto Druid conundrum, though.
Explain to me what's going on with smart heals. What's going on there?
Smart heals are going to be less efficient. They're not necessarily going to be hitting. Right now, smart heals. What smart heals means is that like Wild Growth for Resto Druid, it hits a lot of people. It's an AOE spell, and it hits multiple targets, and it will kind of examine those targets and target the ones that are most damaged. Right. So that's what it's looking for. And coming Warlords of Draenor, that might not be the case. It'll be a little less efficient in hitting everybody that's damaged. It may still hit all damaged people, but it won't be looking for the most damaged people.
So it doesn't just see like injured targets. It actually it's just random.
It may be. I guess we'll see exactly how it works out in beta. I think that it may look for damaged targets, but not necessarily most damage.
The post was basically saying it will seek out random targets. It will seek out random targets and maybe favor the injured ones. Like Ian Hezekosis was saying on Twitter that the Shaman Smart Heal Chain Heal is still going to seek out injured targets. Sorry, it's still not going to seek out injured targets. It doesn't currently seek out the most injured. It just bounces. It won't hit people who are at full health. But it will know. It doesn't sort of say, "Oh, that person's at 20%. I'm going to go over there." It just seeks anyone who's not at 100% health. And like this sounds scary because you're like, "Oh God, it's not going to seek out the most injured targets anymore." Remember, we've got triage healing. Yeah. Everyone's going to be lower health.
Yeah, I get that, and I'm all in favor of that. But I don't like this specific change because as a healer, particularly, I don't like the idea of having to guess what one of my abilities is going to do. I want to be able to cast it and readily know, okay, this is what I'm casting, this is what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to bounce to this target and do this and do this. With this change, you have to wait and see the result before you make the next decision, which makes it harder in high-pressure raiding situations, and even more so in PvP, to anticipate what your next move is as a healer. Right. I like the idea of creating a little more chaos, but I don't like random being a part of that.
Sure. Well, you got to remember too that there's going to be a lot less burst damage, and that's going to be the real key here. So when you have less burst damage, you're going to have more time to be able to fix any kind of problems that you had because your big AOE heal didn't heal that guy over there. It didn't heal Larry. So Larry is, oh my God, he's down to 50%. But, he's not going down that fast anymore. He's not going down as fast as he was in Mists of Pandaria or in previous expansions. He's kind of like dwindling down to nothing. And so you have time to correct those mistakes or correct whatever your smart heals should have done for you that are not doing them anymore because they're not smart anymore. So you can correct that with plenty of time, and hopefully Larry will survive. Sorry, Larry. You're dead.
Sorry, Larry. Larry, if you had been all the way over there, then maybe you would have been healed, Larry, if you'd been in the healing rain.
Yeah, he was in the fire.
He's always in the fires, never in the healing rain. Like for Resto Shaman as well, the smart heal change is a big deal. Like I'm seeing people in chat saying Holy Paladin is hit hard with these changes. Like everyone's got a smart heal. Everyone's gonna get hit. Resto Shaman is the class. I've just started playing a healing paladin. It's level 78. So I'm not 100% sure on all your spells just yet. But nonetheless, like Resto Shaman, so we're looking at Healing Stream Totem, Chain Heal, our proc healing, our Earth Living, all of these are stuff that you can't control. Guess what you don't really use in PvP? Those ones. Like, you use Healing Stream Totem on cooldown, just because why wouldn't you? It's such a tiny mana cost. Maybe you'll drop a Healing Rain, but it's all about, like, right, I see a problem, I'm going to fix that problem. I'm not going to use this thing that might work. I'm going to use this thing that will work. And it's about making more choices. It's about having more control. And to me, that's interesting. It's like, it's turning PvE healing into something more akin to PvP healing, something where you've got to do a little bit more thinking and not just be like, well, I'm going to hit the smart heals. Because like right now, you look at the top shaman passes for just about any fight, Healing Rain, Chain Heal, or Chain Heal, Healing Rain.
Right.
Like those are the top spells, followed by Healing Stream Totem maybe, depending on how regularly people are casting it, and then, you know, the actual targeted heals are far further down. And I don't like that. I like having to control my healing. I like having to say, right, this person is injured to the extent that I need to cast a basic like healing wave on them, and this is the change of removing those. I don't like that at all, by the way. And like this one, oh my god, they're going to die before I can get a greater healing wave off. I need to healing surge that guy. Like the sort of control and the interest in me is like that's fun to me. Not everyone's me.
So what's this next one? I'm interested to hear how this is going to work, especially with 25 man. Multi-target heals becoming less efficient.
It's just like this entire post was like, how can we make healers sweat buckets?
Well, but
How can we do this?
I don't think that that's going to happen though. I really don't think that.
No,
healers are
I
gonna be
agree
sweating
in
buckets.
conjunction with the other change. But if you just read this water cooler chat and you're a healer, you were going, "Oh shit, it's time to play Lotro, man." I don't.
No,
I don't want
no,
to
man. I read this post and I was totally psyched. I really was, because I think that right now, as we sit in Mists of Pandaria, we're at a point where we no longer have to think about healing, and healing is not really all that fun or interesting. It's just throw shit at targets and hopefully it'll stick, right? So if we are no longer doing that, let's actually make this kind of a puzzle almost, you know, like a game within a game. And I think that is really what the crux of this article is all about, is how do we make healing fun and interesting? So let's do that thing. Let's make those little green bars actually mean something again.
Yeah.
So
I mean, like talking about the multi-target healing being less efficient, like this is again kind of going back to what I was talking about with like, because mana regen is so strong right now, and obviously they're actually nerfing that a lot with Warlords of Draenor. Excuse me. So what they're saying is that, right, you know, at the moment, like someone was saying in chat earlier, healing surge or chain heal, because it's a tiny bit more mana and my mana doesn't matter anymore. You know, which one are you going to hit? You're going to hit the one that heals one person. You're going to hit the one that heals 4 people for a tiny bit more mana. Like there might be 4 injured people nearby, but why not? I'm just going to hit it. Let's do that. Like spam prayer of healing as if you're a priest, because why not? You know, you don't need the mana. The mana doesn't matter. So just hit the one that does several people. La 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 la. Like that's not interesting.
right.
That's
I
just
do like that
spell.
this kind of returns us to the idea of there's such a thing as a good healer and a bad healer, which for the last X number of years, it's just a healer. Right
Sure.
now, this is going to turn us back to, okay, Liv's a really good healer. She can go through all of this and keep us all up, and it's all great. And Pat's just Terra bad.
Thank
And
you.
I'm not going anywhere with that. Even when I don't stand in the fire, I die. I do like that now
Right.
it returns us to a skilled healer position and isolating ones you like and will run with.
But I think it'll be, I mean, from everything that I read and all the different blog posts that I've read and stuff like that, I think that it'll be forgiving enough so that people coming into the healing game will still be able to work and will still be able to kind of figure it out and be able to become a better healer. But yes, I think that the top very skilled healers will be able to shine a little bit brighter maybe. But at the same time, still be accessible enough for people getting into healing for the first time. So
Why do you guys think why did they remove some of the basic heals? Why remove Holy
This
Light?
is an odd choice to me.
Why,
This is a
why
really
remove
weird choice. Like,
healing wave?
this is the point
Yeah.
where I'm just like, I don't get it. And maybe like you guys have other opinions on this, but they're like, all right, we're trying to make mana regen more of a thing. We're trying to make like using your heals intelligently more of a thing. We're trying to make it so that you really have to think about which heal you use. Oh, and by the way, we're taking away all the really low mana, low healing ones.
Yeah.
Lol.
Well,
And it's
I
just
mean,
like, but I guess it's button bloat, but to me it's a really weird choice.
So some of it I think is probably button bloat, the ability bloat that's been going on. They're trying to pare everything down, right? So they've kind of prepped us by saying that we're going to lose 20% of our spells. And if I had to lose a spell, Nourish, which is the one for druids, is going to be going away. And I'm totally cool with that because nobody uses it anymore. Nobody uses it right now. It's just a button. It's not like anybody. No druid is using that regularly in Siege of Orgrimmar. So why have it? You know?
Yeah, I think that, like, again, maybe it's my position as the sort of PvP focused healer, but I use Healing Wave all the time. Like, particularly on less on my priest, where I have so many other spells that I'm like, I don't really need to use heal because I've got penance. Like, that's low mana cost as well. It's much more effective. I can cast it while moving and it's channeled. So those are all advantages of penance. Like, I've got other stuff to do. On my shaman, I've got like 4 actual heals, which, I'll use in PvP. And one of those is Healing Wave. And guess which one costs the least mana? Guess which one I'm casting at the end of a match when I'm running really low on mana? It's Healing Wave. Guess which one I'm casting most of the time because I don't want to waste the mana on a greater Healing Wave if they don't need it. Yeah.
Guess what I'm not casting come Christmas?
Well, exactly. And I just, to me, like, it's kind of a weird decision. Like, why make all these changes and then add this little one on the end?
Well, and don't forget they're going to be changing mana costs. They're going to be adjusting all that stuff for the next expansion as well. So that, the bigger the spell, the more mana it's going to cost. That's most likely what's going to happen anyway. So I think that there's going to be, there are so many different changes that are going on with everybody, including healing, that it's just going to be a whole new ball game. Really.
Ton of cast times as well, right? The instant cast heals.
Yeah. So they removed a bunch of. They're going to be removing a bunch of instant cast heals, like Wild Growth is one of them for druids, where it's going from an instant cast that hits multiple people, 5 or 6 people, to 1.5 second cast. So you got to go, all right, yay, everybody can heal, and then later you go, oh, come on, you can do it, yay!
Exactly. Yeah, I am just like, yes, finally, yes. And like, I mean, let's look at this little list of healers which are having instant cast heals removed, and maybe this will elucidate why I'm so happy about this.
Ooh, elucidate.
Druid, Wild Growth now has a 1.5 second caster. Monk Uplift, again, 1.5 seconds. Paladin, Eternal Flame, and Word of Glory. Well, obviously they're mutually exclusive. You can't have both, so they're the same spell. Right. Light of Dawn, all getting 1.5 seconds. Cascade, Divine Star, Halo, the top tier talents for priests, 1.5 seconds. Obviously not for Shadow. Prayer of Mending, which is a really weird choice, 1.5 seconds. Do we notice any healers missing from this list? Any healers which have been suffering from a lack of instant cast heals all the way through this expansion?
Yeah,
there you go. Like, I couldn't be happier that Word of Freaking Glory is getting a 1.5 second cast time, and the Paladins who are QQing in chat already are going to QQ even harder about this. I have a Holy Paladin. I'm not max level on my Holy Paladin. I've done arenas on my Holy Paladin. I've done PvE healing on my Holy Paladin. But the Holy Paladin instant cast heals are so ridiculously overpowered. Like, they're so strong. And my God, Word of Glory hits like a lay on hands sometimes. It's insane. Like, Eternal Flame is just this buffer that just sits there constantly ticking along. It's like, yes, good. It's like,
a lot of it makes a lot of sense, and it makes sense for both PvP and for PvE as well. I think that there should be a time where healers need to sit still and not move around so much. And remember, they're going to be building encounters with that in mind. So don't think of it in today's context. Think of it in Warlords of Draenor context, which is going to be encounters built around those maneuvers that you are able to do and they think that you can handle. So don't worry about it too much. There will still be plenty of healing to do.
For sure. And like, again, another sort of thing in PvP is this the PvP. And like, this is happening in tandem with a ton of other stuff. Yeah. Like, don't freak out that this is going to mean that you can't do stuff. Like, this is going to mean that they're also taking away blanket silencers. They're also reducing interrupts. They're also reducing CC. Like, there's basically an arms race that's just doing this. It's like the Cold War in the 90s, if you were there. But like, it's just disarmament. Like, everyone's got to just chill the heck out, and stop having so much everything. Like everyone's got to just have like stuff taking away a bit, like just chilled out and pull back and calm down. And that's exactly what they're doing.
Calm the F down.
Yeah, calm the F down.
But do not calm down too much, healers, because you're about to get blamed for every death again. Every single death is about to be your fault.
Right.
Enjoy.
It's always your fault. Mr. McBurn, follow him on Twitter at MagicMan, MIGICKMANN.
Game Breaker
with a
Nation,
1.
good time to join with a free 90.
Yes.
Yes.
Get involved.
Join. GameBreakerNation.com is where you can apply. Pat Crane, follow him on Twitter at Convert. No, it's Pat Crane. Don't follow my Convert to Raid. Follow him at Pat Crane. Go over to ConvertToRaid.com.
And you can follow Convert to Raid too. That's fine.
Sure, that'd be great.
Get involved.
And make sure to watch Convert to Raid now in video Sunday mornings live on the Game Breaker Twitch channel right here at 9 a.m. Pacific. Olivia D. Grace, follow her on Twitter at Olivia D. Grace. Go to Zam. Wow.
Game Breaker Nation Guilds. I was asked on Twitter to pimp the Game Breaker Nation Guilds. So Terralion US, Chamber of Aspects EU, join the Game Breaker Nation Guilds. That's where you want to be. With your new 90, go and hang out. Join them.
We need healers.
Obviously. Go. So really, again, GoFundMe.com/GameBreaker is where you can make a donation. GoFundMe.com/GameBreaker. Go there, check it out, watch the video, and whatever you can do, every single dollar really helps right now. So please go check it out. GoFundMe.com/GameBreaker. And for those of you who can't help in this time, because we know times are tough, 2 quick things. Please whitelist us on your ad blocker. We found that the 8% of you all of our traffic is ad blockers. Whitelist us, damn it. We do good stuff. I know you don't love the ads, but damn, that's killing us. And B, one more thing, go over to GameBreaker.com, or not GameBreaker.com. We don't have that one. I wish we had that one. That guy's holding out, and I'm going to get it someday. He's got it. He lives in Connecticut. GameBreaker.tv. And go to our deals page. Check out our deals page. It's right here on the top here. Click that. If you're looking to buy a game or a piece of hardware, we're going to build this out more, but there's a ton of games on here. And if you buy them through Game Breaker, we actually make a little bit of money. So we make a couple of bucks. Help us out. Go over here. You got some great deals. Watch Dogs, Final Fantasy, even WildStar. We got pre-orders are up already. A lot of people didn't know this. Pre-orders are open. They're not supposed to be, I don't think, but they are. Again, go through Game Breaker, buy it. Elder Scrolls Online, we got a great deal on that. I think we may still have a deal on Titanfall. Not sure. Check it out. GameBreaker.tv/deals, DEALS. We do the show live on Thursdays at 8. We'll be back. Oh, we won't be back. I won't be back next week. I got to talk to the gang. Hopefully they'll be doing a show. I don't know. Put on. Guys, you want to do a show next week without me?
Oh, we did it last time. So
we did it last time without you. I'm sure we'll figure it out.
So there you go. There'll probably be a show. I won't be here next week, but there'll probably be a show. So follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/GameBreakerTV. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next week for some more Legendary. Wow, I even lost the music. I talked so long. Loop.